Week number 3 is over, and I've got something to say. So let's get fired up. All right. Thank you to everybody. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel while you're here. I appreciate all of you tuning in. And week 3 is over with. The outcome was not what we had hoped for. But I got to tell you, I've been thinking about this, and I don't want to be a content creator. I am going to be a content relater, meaning that I'm just going to give you the facts. Uh, I'm not ever going to come on here and fake outrage and say something that I don't mean. There were a few positives, a bunch of negatives, but the line is this weekend, we had a ton of Jets fans come into town here in Tampa. I got to meet a ton of you, and we had an amazing time. First, before I get to that, let me focus a little bit on this game. So 1 o'clock rolls around on Sunday, and get to the game a few minutes late. And so as I was making my way, up the stairs and then back down to my seat, the Jets scored their first points. They got the first field goal. And to me, that's encouraging. We're 2 out of 3 games this year, we ended up with points on something that's not something that's the same as the past. That's not the same old Jets to come away with points the first time we get the ball. That was an encouraging sign. There was a big play that happened that was a pass interference call on Sauce Gardner. I was there in person. It wasn't PI when I watched that play over and over again. What I see when I'm watching that play is Mike Evans completely extend his arm. He's like trying to push off from Sauce and create extra separation. And Sauce, I mean, the two of them are hand fighting. It's something that happens on damn near every play. But man, you know what? It's 3rd and 29. Now, there's a lot of people that say we shouldn't have accepted that penalty. We took them from 3rd and 9 to 3rd and 19, held them at 3rd and 19. Like why? Why not just have the loss of downs and have them punt right then? And that's a fair criticism. I wondered the same thing. Like, why are we accepting another penalty? And I know field position, it really can be a game of inches at the end of the day. But that being said, like, I think the real problem with the NFL, you get in like 3rd and long like that, and there's no way in hell they're going to hurt it. Well, you can just throw it up and good Lord, if you're just out for something that you're call, but that should not be of the foul, infraction like that. You want to give them 10 yards, whatever, that's fine. But, moving the ball 30, 40 yards down the field, and trust me, a lot of these receivers in the league are very savvy and know when and how to hand fight and know how to draw these penalties. And to me, that's a big problem, man. Like, Like personally, I didn't even really think the ball was catchable. Does that factor in? Do the refs even look at that? Because if you launch a ball and it's either underthrown or way over the guy's head, and he's got no shot at catching it anyway, it's just to me that's egregious. It's awful to have teams be able to move the ball all the way down the field like that on a bullshit penalty. Now, I don't want to waste any more time on that, but yeah, that's something that kind of pisses me off, and I just wanted to address it. Um, we did not get a lot of sacks in this game, and everybody thought we would. I thought we would. With the Buccaneers missing 3 starting offensive linemen, I really truly thought that our defensive line, even without Jermaine, was going to eat. Now, this is one point where I have to kind of agree with Aaron Glenn. You know, the sacks may not show up on the stat sheet. However, look how many holding penalties the Bucks had. That's why there wasn't a lot of sacks in this game. Like, I mean, there was one particular drive where they had 3 holding penalties like in a row. Boom, boom, boom. 3 plays in a row holding. This you literally probably could have called this game the flag bowl because it seemed like every other play there was a flag. If it wasn't on us, it was on them. I mean, they actually had more flags than we did on the day. So I guess you could say that's a positive. You don't hear that very often. Um, but for Aaron Glenn to come out and say this is not the same old Jets, we were less penalized than the other team. That doesn't sound like the same old Jets. Uh, we scored points on our very first possession. That doesn't sound like the same old Jets. But you know what? At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is wins and losses. We were ahead. We were winning the game with a minute and 40 something left, and we blew it. Guess what? That does sound like the same old Jets. So until you can figure out a way for this team to stop losing games at the last minute, to stop finding ways to lose games that we should win. I mean, you know what? We're only 3 games in, and this is already the second time this year that we're saying we lost a close game that we should have won. That does sound like the same old Jets. And until they start winning games, Aaron Glenn better just get used to hearing that shit because it's not going to stop. And it shouldn't. You guys know me. You know I'm always positive. I always try to be optimistic. I was an Aaron Glenn guy right from the beginning. I still am. I do believe that he's the right coach. I do believe he'll get this thing turned around, but it's not going to be overnight. It's so funny to me that before the season started, so many people, like the majority of the people, were like, "Oh, I smell 4 wins, maybe 5, maybe 6, like no better than." I don't really expect a lot. First time head coach, first time GM, everybody learning a new system. I want to be realistic. And now all those same people are like outraged because we're not on a winning streak to start off the year. And you know what? I don't know what they were expecting. Like, I get caught up too. I get caught emotions too. Game, it was really, we saw a lot of really good things. The second game was a disaster. Nothing good point out in that game, probably. And this game, God, was such a contradiction in so many ways. Like, you know, the bottom line is we just couldn't get everybody clicking at the same time. Um, you know, thank goodness we came out of this for the most part healthy. there were plays in this were completely totally Bucky Irving run where he starts to the left. Our defense being aggressive, everybody's swarming, flowing to the ball, and he just stops and nobody went with him. Next thing you know, he's going all the way out around the right end, and there's practically nobody there. He breaks it up, run for a big game. Like by our linebackers in particular, it was like that was obvious Baker Mayfield run. Now, I could bitch about that and say, oh, Michael Clements was being held, like, even as he got away from the guy was still tugging his jersey. But let's be honest, Michael Clements wasn't making that play anyway. You line up Michael Clements and Baker Mayfield on the field, and they're the only two ones out there. Baker's probably going to outrun Michael Clements 10 out of 10 times. So I'm not saying that would have made any difference, but we can't allow that to keep happening. We ended up losing Quincy Williams. He got injured in this game. Apparently, he's going to be out, at least 4 games now as they're putting him on IR. Let me tell you about Quincy Williams. I love his enthusiasm. I love his energy. However, if I can give you an analogy, like, okay, crap. All right, Nate, let me see if I can check my settings and see if I can get that fixed. Apologies to everyone for that. At any rate, Quincy Williams is like a Lamborghini that has a bad alignment that won't steer. Like, yes, it's really, really fast, but you can't control where it's going. And that's what he reminds me of. You know, he he's fast, he's goes the ball, but like he is over pursued and missed tackles so many times this year that okay, I'm apparently I'm gonna have to do like a Mikey Midnight impression and just not touch anything because I think I'm making this worse as I'm messing with it. I tried something a little bit different tonight. It's obviously not working how I intended. I'll try to get that sorted out for next time. At the end of this game, we got to see Azareye'h Thomas, and you know what? He came out and he had a really nice pass breakup on that throw to Emeka Mbuka. Dude, we've seen 3 games of Brandon Stevens, and he hasn't had one pass breakup that looked that good at all. And only getting a couple of snaps, and all of a sudden AZ can come out and do that. I mean, I know I'm talking about only one play, but dude, you know what? It's time for us to see Azareye'h Thomas. Enough of the Brandon Stevens bullshit. Uh, you know, let Moore play, let Thomas play, and let's see what these young guys can do. If he struggles, you can always put Stevens back in. Stevens a lot of money. But the fact is, he's not producing. And if you want to talk accountability, you want to talk culture and all that crap, then your actions have to match your words. You got rid of Gibson, you pulled Clements when he screwed up, but you continue to play Stevens. Like that's got to stop. I think as fans, I think we're all ready to see Thomas. And you know what? If he's not the guy, whatever, like, you know what? Let us at least find out. Let's see. Let's see what he can do. Um, as I was leaving the game on Sunday, and I'll be the first to admit, with the way the game was going, I was not overly encouraged, and I'm thinking, and the heat was brutal. Like all of us, we were all suffering. That when I found my seats, it turned out I was sitting next to Rick Kent and Dylan Terraman, and so I was in great company for the game. But that heat was beating up on us, and as me and Dylan, had went up and gotten in the shade for a minute, he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm gonna call Jake right now. I think I'm calling the Uber. I can't do it any longer." I echoed the same sentiments, and I was actually starting to walk down. And as I was starting to come down the stairs, I got down to that next level, and here comes like the EMTs with a stretcher, and on the stretcher is an older gentleman that I saw at our meetup on Saturday night, and he's got his Jets hat on and his Vilma jersey on, and I didn't actually meet him at the meetup, but I saw him there, and I knew he was part of our group, and he had came by me. I asked him like, "Hey, man, are you okay?" And he kind of gave me a thumbs up. Um, no love bites. It was not Dave Briga. If it was Dave Briga, I would have recognized him instantly because I met Dave on Saturday night, and he's an awesome dude, by the way. Um, but yeah, and as I was saying that to the guy, that's when the Will McDonald play happened, and so it was right at the end of the game. But hopefully that guy's doing okay. The Heat really beat the shit out of all of us. What the Heat did to us was even worse than the outcome of the game. Like we took an absolute beating. Um, Now, the one thing that I will say, and I've heard people that say they don't mind it. I've heard other people, saying the way Glenn was acting, he's acting like a. Seems like a lot of people are kind of split on that, and I've heard some people that didn't like it right after who are now saying it's okay. Honestly, I got no problem with Glenn celebrating when he probably thought we had won the game right then. Now, that being said, maybe he celebrated a little prematurely. The funny thing is a girl named Amanda that I follow on Twitter posted this post earlier today, and it was like 30 years later, same celebration, and it was Glenn from Sunday and Glenn after one of his interceptions in like the late 90s as a Jet, and it was that same exact dance that he was doing, like literally exactly the same. Um, at any rate, like I don't mind that, and the fact that we have all wasted so much time talking about Glenn dancing on the sideline is ridiculous. All I would say is, you know what? So many people would say Robert Saleh just stands there like a statue. Robert Saleh doesn't show any emotion. Well, now you've got a coach that's showing emotion, and apparently that's a problem. Some people are just going to go out of their way to look for things to complain about. You're never going to be able to please anybody. Um, as I said at the beginning of this video, I'm going to always come on here, tell you honestly what I'm thinking. I'm not ever going to like fake outrage and try to build things up into more than what they are. And, I could easily come on here and say, you know what, week one, we were talking about moral victories. There's no such thing as a moral victory. If you're talking about this week, and like Aaron Glenn said, I'm proud of the guys. They fought, they didn't give up. Well, guess what? You're getting paid millions of dollars to play a sport, which yes, that's your job, but it's still playing a sport. I wouldn't expect them to quit fighting. I wouldn't expect there to be any quit in this team. I'm not gonna. heap praise on guys for simply going out there and doing their job. Was it good to see? Yes. We did not get the result we wanted. Uh, you know what? There were a lot of issues. I would say that this is not a moral victory. Drop the M. I would say this was an oral victory because we lost and it fucking sucks. It sucks to lose a game at the end when we should have won it. It sucks to have this much talent on a roster and have them consistently underperform. Um, and I do agree with a lot of the things Glenn says. Main thing being is we still got a lot of work to do. Yes, Mr. Glenn, you certainly do. And, I do think they'll get this thing turned around. It's just going to take some time. And as fans, I know that's the last thing any of us want to hear. I think we've waited long enough. That being said, I think things will turn around. I think it may take until mid-season, the 2/3 mark before we really started seeing market improvement from this team. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully it happens faster. But we will see. We will see. I do have confidence in Glenn, and I do think he'll get things turned around. But there are certainly some issues with this team. Um, Now, real quickly before I take calls, I just want to say everybody that I got to meet over the weekend at Jake's meetup, it was amazing meeting all of you guys, and actually getting to spend time with you guys. The one thing that really, really sucks about being an out of market fan is when Jake and Nick and all these people do these meetups, and I have to look at the pictures online, and I can never go because I'm at the other end of the country. And so it was nice to have everybody be here in my hometown. It was nice to get to see everybody. Um, Rick Kent, awesome. Complete gentleman, just like you would expect. Tremendous person. Dylan Terriman, it was good getting to hang out with him. But I got to see Leany and Jay Graves and Aurora and Big Fella and Dave Briga and Lee Van and Ralphie Rocks and Robin. And I mean, dude, there were so many people here, and I should probably stop while I'm ahead because I know that I'm going to forget people somewhere along the way. Dark Knight Steve and Daytona Joe. Like there was just so many people, and it was awesome, getting to hang out with everybody. That meetup alone makes me wish that I was living back up north. That meetup alone makes me wish that I was back in New York. Because man, I wish I could do shit like that. If I could go out every week prior to the game and have a meetup and get to hang out with the fans like I did this past weekend, it would probably make some of these seasons a lot easier to deal with. It would probably make some of these Sundays a lot easier to deal with because you guys were amazing. And shout out to everybody that made the trip. The weather was awful. The game didn't turn out how we wanted, but the fans were amazing, just like you would expect. We've got the best fan base in sports. There's no two ways about it. No other fan base would be this hardcore and this dedicated after watching what we have watched for the last decade and a half. Um, Also, shout out to Festa and for putting on a great meetup with Jake. Shout out to everybody from the Tampa fan club that helped make that happen. To Jessica for getting us tickets, and appreciate all those guys. They did a great job. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and start taking a couple calls. Uh, First up is going to be Beast. Beast, what do you got to say today?
The first half of that game, we looked like we went out and shot ourselves right in the back of the head. I could not watch the first half of that. It was like, oh my God. It's like, where the hell do we go from here? And then Tyrod threw that pick six. I knew some shit was just horrendous and horrific, and just sitting there going, "What the fuck did this guy do this morning? Did he do something wrong, or is he ass backwards?" I think he just completely doesn't have it in him like he used to. It's just, and then third quarter we look like we still shit the bed. Fourth quarter, okay, we got a good kick in the ass, but then we get this big lead, 27-26. All of a sudden, the defense shit the bed and kicked it out with their feet. Congratulations, Glenn. You should have not have fucking did that in the first place. Celebrate that easily. You should have waited. You didn't wait. You know what you just did? You did it prematurely and ass backwards. Very not smart. That ain't the smartest idea in the drawer. That's dumb, if you ask me. But like I'm going to tell you, next week when we go to Miami, we better get our heads out of our ass, because this is getting to be really embarrassing. Week after week after week after week, I am getting to the point where the fuck do we go from here? I know what the fuck we need to do to go from here. Put fucking Clemens on the goddamn bench. The guy cost us more penalties than anything we've ever done. The guy is a lazy, nothing happening bum. He can't cut it. He can't cut it. He can't do the job. He's not fit. And Aaron Glenn keeps saying, this guy's going to get better. No, he's not. We've had it for a few years, and he cannot foot the bill. He can't control himself. He cost us penalties like, what the fuck is this? Are you seriously kidding me, man? What the hell is this guy's problem? This guy can't hold the line, can't do the job, can't do a simple fucking thing called, stop face masking. And dude, when the quarterback goes down, don't fucking touch him. It's not fucking difficult. How many times can we get kicked in the balls and ask for more? Son of a bitch. Wow. Rickie, I've been around this team 27 years, but I'm going to tell you this. This team did not look like they were fucking prepared for battle. They were 2/3 way out, and they didn't have a fucking clue what they were doing. Am I not right, Rickie? Rickie, can you hear me?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes, I can hear you. I can't say that for the team as a whole, but there's definitely people. You know what? I think that's part of the problem. Some of our players, I think, are trying too hard. Others are not putting in enough effort, and just
I just couldn't watch
that. The bottom line is everybody's not on the same page. We have to be more competitive than what we've been. That's the bottom line. I can handle a loss as long as we're in it. You know what? We should have won this game. We should have won this game. That's all there is to it. But
the fucking point is,
I'm not willing to close the book on Glenn quite yet.
I already gave Jake my notice that give Glenn and Muji my phone number. I want to talk to both of them. Sit them down and get this fucking shit straightened out, because this is getting ridiculous. I mean, week after week after week. We should have smacked the shit out of Pittsburgh. We should have bitch slapped Buffalo. We should have destroyed Tampa. No. What did these three teams do? Destroyed us. Like we were shit on a stick to them. I am very to the point where, okay, if you really want to get this team to win games, tell them to get off their fucking ass and start earning it. Because when you come to New York, you gotta fucking produce here. You gotta goddamn produce. That's what we're trying to tell half these guys. But half these guys don't want to produce. They just want to come here just for the money. It doesn't work that way. When Parcells was coaching this team, he told his team straight off the bat, when you come here, you better produce. Because you don't think the newspapers will be all over you? There are 15 newspapers in New York. And you don't think they can write that shit in the newspapers? Oh, yes, they can. They have the power to do it with one stroke of the pen. All you got to do is get up, read the fucking paper, and look what the shit they're putting in the goddamn papers. We're trying to tell this team, get your heads out your goddamn asses. Or next year, when if we have this kind of 7 or 8 win season, we're gonna have to take some big money out, and I'm talking big. We're looking at a possibility of another $10 billion. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go get talent. Half the talent that we have now, they don't look like they are talent. Stevens doesn't impress me. Clemens doesn't impress me. Carter, I thought he was gonna be this fucking guy to do some great work. Not so good. Sherwood, okay, he's all right, but he needs a lot of work on. Sure, they signed him a lot of money, but that ain't gonna be enough. And you're gonna need another wide receiver. You're gonna need another goddamn tight end, and you need extra defense. That's what's goddamn killing us because it's getting to the fucking point where the fuck do you go from here? I know what you can do. You take the $10 billion out, you go all around the United States and look for talent. It's not fucking difficult. It's easy as taking a shit. Simple, easy arithmetic stuff that these guys should be learning from the get-go. We should have been doing this from the start. I am sick of it to the point where my fucking heart is gonna rip out of my chest. It's horrific. Wow.
All right. Well, calm down, Beast.
Whoa, wait.
We don't need your heart rate getting out of control. Getting there. But this is what I want to say, and I'm probably going to end the stream pretty soon as I'm having some issues on my end.
I understand that.
But this is what I want to say about that. These are not all Glenn's guys. It's going to take some time for him to flip this roster. And after this season, we have 27 guys who are on expiring contracts. 27. So, yes, we might be stuck with Michael Clemens for this year. And but he'll be gone. There's going to be a lot of people who are gone from this roster after this season. I want to apologize to everybody. I tried something a little bit different. Thought that I would have the spotless internet tonight. I actually directly wired in straight into the router. However, it apparently the adapter, the Ethernet to USB adapter that I've got that I hooked my line up into apparently has a short in it. And, as Nate pointed it out earlier, I was kind of moving it around. It got better for a while and then it got worse. And so needless to say, that did not work out exactly how I thought it was going to. I thought I was going to get rid of a small problem and doing something different. I created an even bigger one. What can I say? The internet for this show is just a perfect example of what it's like to be a Jets fan. You get your hopes all up thinking that one thing's going to happen, and what happens is pretty much the exact opposite of what you wanted and what you hoped for. That being said, I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank all you guys so much for being here. I appreciate it. I am going to cut this a little bit short tonight, and I will be back again on Saturday at 8 p.m. Until all of you, everybody have a good night, and go Jets.
There's a brand new show that you can stream, dropping that knowledge like a guillotine. You about to score big like a touchdown drive, because Rickie New York is about to go live. So subscribe now and do not settle. We taking YouTube content to a whole new level. We got the best roster at every position. These are the brand new Jets. So please stop your bitching. If negativity's a problem, we got the solution. It's called the next step in Jets fan evolution. Football is back. You better brace for collision, because Rickie New York Live's gonna smoke the competition. It's time for some action. Someone hit the lights, cause it's about the fans of the green and white. Opinions that are stronger than a mountain of steel, and a mouth that's faster than hell on wheels. Yo, a war of words, no one will survive. A war of words, no one will survive. A war of words, no one will survive. Going up against Rickie New York Live. A war of words, no one will survive. A war of words, no one will survive. A war of words, no one will survive. Going up against Rickie New York Live.